Hi guys and welcome to Studio Wildlife. In this video I'm going to show you how I paint this little bear sketch using acrylic paints. So I start by just blocking in the bear itself just with a thin wash of raw umber, just with this flat brush. Then I begin to block in the background. This is just a thin wash just to remove some of that white background. Get rid of some of that harsh white, make it a little bit less intimidating, but also act as a wash for me to work on over the top of later in the painting process. I just dry that back with a hairdryer and then begin with the next layers. I just want to darken that background a little bit more and add some trees and some darker spaces in between those trees with some darker paint. I then want to just add some highlights to the side of these trees, and I want this background out of focus so I'm not putting too much detail in. Then I'm just adding some impressionistic leaves, just using a small frayed flat brush, just to add some leaves in the background. That's a bit of alliteration there, can't believe I said that properly. Once that background is done, I can start to work on the middle ground, and I'm just trying to put in some bushes. So I'm starting by establishing some darks, and then just roughly, abstractly blocking in some twigs, some branches and leaves, just giving the impression of some bushes, not being too detailed with this because it's only a small painting. Then I get to work on the foreground. Again, I'm just blocking in some rough colours, some greens, some browns, some oranges and some yellows, just to give the impression of the ground that the bear is going to be walking on. At this stage, I'm just blocking in some basic colours and basic shapes, and then I use a small angled brush to add in some loose abstract blades of grass, not too sharp, kind of fuzzy because I want them out of focus and in the background a little bit, because the main focus of this painting should be the bear. Then I begin to work on the bear itself, using that flat brush once again, and I'm starting by blocking in the darkest shapes, so using that flat brush to just block in the shadows. If you would like to watch the full process of this video, please head on over to my Patreon channel. I'll pop a link to that down in the description below, and the full video in real time is available for you to watch. Then I'll just glaze over the top of that with some brown. Once that brown's blocked in, I'll add some orange over the top just to start to establish some of the form and the roundness and fluffiness of that bear, using some yellow ochre and a bit of orange paint. And again, that small frayed angled brush. Then I'll work back over the top, trying to bring in some of those darks that I lost and refine some of the features. I'll add a little bit more of the light colours, so some white mixed with some yellow ochre and some brown, to just establish some highlighted areas of fur and trying to put in some impressions of fur detail, whilst still trying to refine the shape and the form of the bear. Then I'll get out the detail brush and start to put in just the impression of the detail, just some loose strands of fur. This is only a small painting, so again I don't need to go into too much detail for this. This step is just adding some backlighting with some pure white paint. I don't usually use pure white for my paintings, but in this case I thought I'd make an exception because I'm going to glaze over it later. So we're starting to look a little bit more bear-like now, but that eye's still not quite right, so I just need to make some adjustments. Don't be afraid to make adjustments in your paintings, to repaint over things. Don't be afraid to get rid of things completely. Make those adjustments as you go, don't wait till the very end. After I've made those adjustments to the face, I'm pleased with the appearance of the face and the shape of the face. I start to do some glazing, some colours and some different shadows over the top of the paint that I've already put down. Trying to establish some darks and some lighter areas of fur, where that light and those shadows are hitting. Once that's done, I will start to work on the foreground once again, just establishing some rough, loose blades of grass with a liner brush. Again, check out my Patreon if you want to learn about the colours that I'm using and the different brushes that I'm using for this painting process. So I'm just building up these grass blades, just really roughly, really quite abstract. I spotted something else that I wanted to fix on the bear's face, so I just zoomed in, changed that, just a nice simple glaze, fixed it, and then it's on to the final touches, trying to just bring that grass forward and make it so that the foreground is actually in front of the bear. Doing that just sets the scene a little bit more and just creates a nice atmosphere. Then I just splashed some of these dots around, and then I wanted to just knock that background a little bit, so I just glazed over the surface with some like misty fogginess, just to give it a bit more of a mysterious and eerie look, or like a bit of like morning fog. And then did a little bit of flicking with a toothbrush, which I do in quite a lot of my sketches, just to give it that little bit extra, and then that's pretty much it. That's my painting process for painting a bear sketch like this. This is not a complete finalised painting. This is a smaller sketch for a larger painting that I might do. It's a study for colour, for composition, and I do really recommend that you get into the habit of creating little studies and sketches like this before your finished paintings, and it'll just help you plan your paintings and practice and do these trial and error little things before you start your actual painting that just helps you further along in that painting process and helps you produce a greater finished piece. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my Patreon channel, Studio Wildlife, for loads and loads of full real-time videos. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.